Very soon, the Civil Liberties Defense Act will go before the Missouri legislature. Faizan Syed, the director of the Council on American Islamic Relations, or CAIR, in Missouri, has produced a video filled with inaccuracies and distortions. We've chosen a dozen of these attempts to deceive legislators and Missouri citizens, and we're going to rebut them one by one. But first, a quick review of just who CAIR is.
Faizan Syed, and I'm the Executive Director for the Council on American Islamic Relations, based here in St. Louis.
CAIR has been named as an unindicted co-conspirator in the largest terrorism finance trial in U.S. history, the 2008 United States versus Holy Land Foundation case in Dallas, Texas. No fewer than 4 CAIR leaders have been convicted of felonies, including terrorism. CAIR has a Memorandum of Understanding with the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, and with 57 members, it is second only in size to the United Nations. The OIC is, like CAIR, dedicated to the imposition of Sharia doctrine and the criminalization of any blasphemy against Sharia law. The FBI has terminated relations with CAIR as a matter of policy. The IRS has reportedly revoked the nonprofit status of CAIR's national organization. CAIR is being sued for engaging in fraud against several of its members. Deception 1.
This year, they have reintroduced another anti-Sharia piece of legislation.
In reality, HB1512 establishes the Civil Liberties Defense Act, which specifies it must be the public policy of Missouri to protect its citizens from the application of foreign laws when the application of a foreign law will result in the violation of a right guaranteed by the Missouri Constitution or the United States Constitution. There is no mention of Sharia or any specific foreign law or any foreign legal doctrine in HB 1512. Deception 2.
Last year in the state of Missouri was when they first introduced the anti-Sharia legislation. When it was first introduced into Missouri, it said on the wording that Sharia would not be allowed within the state of Missouri. Obviously, this was so against the First Amendment that didn't pass. So then the authors of that piece of legislation became clever, and they said that no foreign law will be allowed within the state of Missouri.
Syed claims that the Civil Liberties Defense Act of 2012 is an outgrowth of 2011 anti-Sharia legislation. The 2011 bill, despite his claim, is in no way related to HB 1512. Deception 3.
And of course, this law also got banned because any business worth its salt does international trading, works with foreign law. So if you don't allow businesses to make deals with one another using other countries' laws or using our law, then obviously business couldn't work as we know it. So that law didn't pass.
Syed claims businesses would be negatively impacted by HB 1512. Note that HB 1512 protects individual constitutional rights and expressly does not apply to businesses. Deception 4. The screen caption claims HB 1512 would prohibit judicial consideration of religious, foreign, or international law. This assertion is false in more ways than one. HB 1512 makes no mention of religious law in any way, nor does it mention international law. It is focused on foreign law. This is not a blanket ban on the consideration of foreign law. It is a protection of individual constitutional rights. Deception 5.
That under this bill, contractual use of religious law, whether it's Jewish law or Muslim law or Christian law or Catholic law, Hindu law or Sikh law, whatever there is, that those laws or any other religious groups could not be enforced within the state of Missouri. That the validity of marriages, wills, and other contracts based on religion, law could be jeopardized.
This is nonsense, and a read of HB 1512 reveals this clearly. HB 1512 only comes into play in a case in which a foreign law or foreign legal doctrine is violating someone's constitutional rights. There is no blanket ban on any foreign, international, or religious law, as is dishonestly betrayed in the video. Deception 6. Hang in there. We're halfway through.
And that these laws are unnecessary. where in America is Sharia law being implemented by the courts? And you find nowhere.
This is false. The Center for Security Policy completed a study of 50 cases in 2011 on just this subject. The report evaluates 50 appellate court cases from 23 states that involve conflicts between Sharia or Islamic law and American state law. The study's findings suggest that Sharia law has entered into state court decisions in conflict with the Constitution and state public policy. Some commentators have said there are no more than 1 or 2 cases of Sharia law in the United States state court cases. The Center for Security Policy found 50 significant cases just from the small sample of appellate published cases. Others have asserted with certainty that state court judges will always reject any foreign law, including Sharia law, when it conflicts with the Constitution or state public policy. The Center for Security Policy found 15 trial court cases and 12 appellate court cases where Sharia was found to be applicable in these particular cases. The facts are the facts. Some judges are making decisions deferring to Sharia law even when those decisions conflict with constitutional protections. The report can be viewed in its entirety at shariainamericancourts.com. But don't take the center's word for it. Go to shariaindex.com. This is an Islamic legal website that lists 71 legal cases involving Sharia law in America and states, quote, U.S. courts, therefore, must regularly interpret and apply foreign law, including Islamic law. Implementing certain principles of Sharia is required. End of quote. Deception 7.
In cases that involve foreign law, the courts of Missouri already have a system for ruling out provisions that infringe upon the rights of Missouri citizens.
This is incorrect. There is no stated policy in Missouri on the issue of comity, choice of law, and the like for foreign law. Deception 8.
This law also has constitutional issues. First, this bill violates the Constitution of Missouri on several counts. A, separation of powers, that the legislative branch, the one who writes laws, cannot tell the judicial branch, the judges in the courts, which laws they may or may not consider. Right? There's a separation of powers. So the legislative branch cannot tell the judicial branch what laws they can or cannot consider.
Quite the contrary. It is the proper role of the legislative branch of the government to make law. The judicial branch is tasked with interpreting law. Right now, on issues involving foreign law and foreign legal doctrines, there is no complete law in Missouri. Judges are currently put in a position of having to, quote-unquote, make law. This is unsatisfactory, and it is high time the Missouri legislature weighs in. Deception 9.
Another violation is the right to contract, to form Missouri contractual relationships, that this bill would violate the rights of individuals to freely engage in such activities.
The Civil Rights Defense Act expressly recognizes the right to contract in its text. Moreover, the Civil Rights Defense Act only restricts the right to contract in terms of enforcement. Theoretically, people can contract for whatever they want to, on whatever terms. Obviously, the only time the state gets involved with regard to policy is when there is a dispute and the parties go to the courts to resolve and enforce. In this case, it is properly the role of the state to protect constitutional liberties, including but not limited to due process, freedom of religion, speech or press, and any right of privacy or marriage as specifically defined by the Constitution of the state. Deception 10.
Another issue is unequal treatment, that this bill states within it that businesses will not have to follow this law while normal people have to follow this law. And because the bill exempts various forms of corporation but applies to individuals, it treats persons differently from natural persons. So if you have a business, then you are treated differently than just a normal person, and this is another violation.
Said claims that the Civil Rights Defense Act violates the principle of equal protection. This is incorrect because there is no protected class involved. The authors of the Act recognize the need for business to contract with foreign entities and the fact that businesses have legal resources that many individuals do not have access to. This Act is designed to protect individual constitutional rights. Deception 11.
Difficulties with international contracts. That parties seeking court enforcement of contracts or documents that refer to religious or foreign laws may not be able to enforce that contract if these bills are passed.
Said claims that the Civil Rights Defense Act will cause difficulties with international contracts. The Civil Rights Defense Act only comes into play in a specific case in which the constitutional rights of a citizen or resident of Missouri is violated by a foreign law or foreign legal doctrine. This is patently not the case in international adoptions, as an example. And finally, Deception 12.
The First Amendment of the United States is not up for vote. It's not up for a referendum as was done in Oklahoma. It doesn't matter how many people they don't like it. It doesn't matter. The First Amendment is solid, it's state, and no matter what people, how many people are opposed to it, no matter how many people don't believe that religious laws cannot be followed by religious communities within the country, it doesn't matter.
First of all, the Civil Rights Defense Act and the Oklahoma Amendment are not even remotely related. Second, the Civil Rights Defense Act is precisely designed to protect the First Amendment rights of the people of Missouri against foreign laws and foreign legal doctrines which would violate that right. CARE can only attack this law by lying about it in Missouri and nationwide. Their leadership knows and their supporters know that no one is being fooled by their tactics. There's what the law says, and there's what CARE lies about what the law says. So go read the law for yourself. Contact your Missouri State Representative and tell them to vote for HB 1512. And also contact your Missouri State Senator and tell them to vote for SB 676.